I just wanted this morning to talk about my practice from like how I got here or got to it. I have no idea. And I guess whatever comes up. And so I'm going to do that. Even though I feel like I have come to a place where I can't really talk about it because I don't really know what's happened. When I was in my 20s, LSD came on the scene. You could get LSD, and so my husband at the time, that husband, got some, and he had a powerful experience which he would not tell anybody about. It was very annoying. But his best friend was also my friend, and so his friend Phil and I said, okay, we'll try it too, but we'll do it at the same time, so nobody, so you can be there for us, and we did. And I mean, I had many different experiences with LSD, but the thing that I come away from it the most was that I had forgotten what I knew as a child, that everything is alive and everything can speak to me and I can speak to it. And I had forgotten that because, of course, I'd been given this high-quality education which stamps that out so hard that you are lost in a world of intellect and reasoning, and it wasn't working for me. And after I had those experiences, which was over a period of about 3 years, taking it every so often, it's quite a powerful drug. Like when I had it, I didn't want to have it again for a long time. I walked away from it and lost my direction. I had no direction because I knew this one thing and the world wasn't like that, and so I didn't really know what to do. And I lived very recklessly for a long time. And then I met somebody who, well, I guess some books came out, and Tom Burns, who used to come here, I miss him. He and I connected over the Carlos Castaneda books about Don Juan, and which galvanized, this world of people about my age. And I read them too, and then I knew what I was looking for, that this was the direction I needed to go. Well, I had absolutely no idea how to do that. I guess I've told this before, but he wants me to tell the whole thing, so okay. So after a series of romances and things that didn't work out, I finally came to the conclusion that that everybody comes to, which is no one is going to rescue me, and I might as well decide what it is that I want to do that has nothing to do with making a living, which of course was the big thing. You had to somehow make a living, you had to pay the rent and take care of your child, and, take your ex-husband to court. It all costs money. And but what happened was that I saw how reckless I had been, and I just made the decision that that I know I'm going to die. Someday I will be dead, and I won't be able to do all the things that are in my mind that would be so wonderful and so enlightening and so all these things. And so I said, I've got to pay attention to what comes to me because I really don't know. And very quickly I met somebody who had learned how to work with the spirits of nature in very powerful ways. And so I learned it. And I spent 10 years in that practice. And I became a healer. People came to me to be healed of their psychological woes, or a certain type of it, because I really specialized in this one thing. And then one day, and it was wonderful, oh boy, except that one day I just said, this is not it. This is not enough. I need to know what is real. I need to know, not in the sense of, I don't know what's happening, but what is real? What is it? What is it that allows this kind of thing in the world? And with that, I had to let go of everything that I had learned, and I had to leave so that people would stop bothering me if they wanted a healing. I had to go away, and I spent 10 years in a kind of solitude, that I just lived in a kind of solitude. And then at some point, I came back here in Connecticut. My parents were in their 90s, and they needed help, and so I came back here. And the first thing I saw was we used to have a newspaper called the Reading Pilot, and in that paper I opened it up, and there was a story in it about opening this place. That this place was going to be open, and it was a very small little article that had a telephone number. It said, "This is from Thailand," which I knew nothing, and a meditation practice that's powerful. So although I had to wait a year to come because my father was dying and there was a lot of things to care, but I didn't have the focus. I came and I drove along there, and there wasn't any foliage there, and I saw McCann attending to this altar here through the window. Well, I didn't know it was McCann then, but it was. And I came in here, and they told me that basically it's the talk that everybody gets when they come here, and what this is about, and the spareness of it, the cleanliness of it. It was so clear and so clean and so uninvolved in all this stuff. It was just this beautiful, pristine path about which I knew nothing, but I could see that. And that was the beginning. I came here. I never turned back. I came here every day, or every day that it was open, for many years. When Nina came to here, I introduced her to the method, and I've been here a while. So then a lot of changes happened in here, and then there was the pandemic. And I was away from this. I was practiced all the time. I never stopped practicing. But I couldn't bear the social aspects of it. I had to be alone. And so, what am I saying? I came back here after the pandemic, and I said, okay, I'm here. And things have transformed in some ways that puzzle me, and I don't understand. I don't talk about Chandana anymore. We used to come on Tuesdays, and nobody would come, so it would be him and me, and we talked a lot, and that no longer happens. And I feel like I'm at a place in this practice that it's, it's very beautiful, clean, but I feel that something has changed in me, and that now I am seeing something that frightens me, to tell you the truth. And that is the rawness and the power of mind, which is not the mind that does not belong to me, that I do not have agency over, that I cannot say is my mind. It is not my mind, but is mind. And it's so, it makes, it's only frightening because I don't know what to do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's that what I understand mind to be has a lot to do with myself, with self. And if you are going to not be a slave to self, that you're not going to have self, you're going to eliminate self, the desires and all the things that you want or that you think should be. It's not easy, and I have seen the I don't know what to call it, big mind, the scary mind at work, making my body move. And here's an example, and it's the strongest of examples. There are other. I had to have this procedure done where they give you an injection in your hip, and so you're lying on a table face up, waiting for the doctor to actually do it. You know, they're fooling around you. And I was told, do not move your hand, do not touch here, do not touch here, just because we want to keep it really clean, nothing happened. Fine, I'm happy with that, it doesn't matter. And I'm waiting, lying there, and I'm aware of them sort of working with, I don't know what they're doing, but it's peaceful and quiet, and I have nothing on my mind, and suddenly I experience a command that is no word, but it says touch. I mean, and my hand, as soon as it said that, my hand was down there and I was touching it. And then as soon, when you say as soon as, it's like the difference between the command and the act is there's no real separation except that one happened first. But I mean, the time, there's no time. You can't say, oh gee, I'm not going to do that, I'm not supposed to do it. It was just like that, touch. And then my own mind, the mind of the self saying, come back. You don't have to touch them. And I mean, it's not a big deal, and yet I saw this raw power over which I have no control. It's and it shows itself as the power of the mind over the body. The body, and I've always, said, oh, I don't know, the body has its own thing. But no, it doesn't. I just saw this relationship between the mind and the body that is sort of frightened me because I didn't expect it. Everything's, sweetness and light, and then something like this happens. It's like when the bee, last year or the year before, and I was standing near my sage plants, and there was a bee in the flowers, moving, and it was moving in a pattern, and I wanted to see what the pattern was, so I was just standing there watching to see if he went like this or like this or whatever. But it became aware of me, the bee, and it went like that, and it was such a shock to my body. That's the same feeling. Like there's no separation between that sound and the reaction, pulling back. And I saw that as wonderful. I mean, in a way, just there's no separation. With the thing with the command to tell me to do something that I wasn't supposed to do. It's like, oh no, am I totally incoherent? Is anybody understanding anything I'm saying? All right, good. Thank you. So that's my practice now, which is sort of like, how do I survive all of this? I mean, I've come to a place here where I'm not in command, and I see that as, moving the self out, But what's in it for me? I mean, I guess that's my question. What's in it for me? am I going to be disrupted in all of these ways? And how is it carrying out? How is it carrying out, the mandate of speaking and opening up other people's minds to this wonderful thing? And there he is, the man I said who doesn't come here anymore. That's not. And so that's where I am with this. And now, if anyone has any comment, hello. If anyone has any comment or questions or thoughts, it's now the time to say something. And I'm not looking at you in particular, just that you're on this side of my. I can tell you that every move I have made to nature, to pray to nature, to pray to the bushes and the trees and the insects and the debris all around, the rocks and things like this, that is always answered. That prayer is always answered. And so, but now I feel that, why wasn't that enough? It wasn't. And so now I'm in this thing where I'm experiencing myself or my non-self in ways that are very disquieting. That's summarize. Just summarize. This is not an unhappy thing. This is just a phenomenon, and I don't know how important it is. Yeah.
Why is it disquieting?
Why is it disquieting?
Because you're trying to process. You're trying to process the experience?
No, I don't process. I don't think so. I don't think in terms of process. Why is it disquieting? If there's a kind of, I feel like in the presence, and I felt this way with the bee too, in the presence of something that is infinitely powerful, and I am not, that's the disquieting part, because it's not out there. It's not out there. And I don't know when it's going to do anything like that again. If not, maybe I'm psychotic, I don't know. Can I understand anything that I say? Tabila? Can you? I don't know, maybe not. You missed my talk.
It's one of the best talks I've ever heard you give. Asking for comments, and I hadn't heard anything, so I thought, so get away with it.
Well, the part I could relate to was being completely unfocused and trying to do something to give you a focus.
Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about like realizing I had no direction.
Right.
And then trusting something, saying, I will find direction. So that was powerful, and that didn't work any more than this came.
Well, I find your story very comprehensible. I don't think it was difficult to follow at all. It was a well-told account.
Thank you. I felt a little nervous talking about my my drug experience. But that's the extent of it. There isn't any more than that.
It's interesting, this is what all those hippies I was growing up with in Greenwich Village may have been experiencing.
Yeah, they were. They were. Except they, we were older, but
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of people moved on to hard drugs.
Yeah.
Not me.
Your comments about, first of all, thank you. It was, and apparently you told me some accounts before. I haven't heard that.
Well, it's one piece here, one piece there.
Some of your concluding or end remarks about power of thought, or that theme. I'm not there yet, but I have heard that from other teachers of mine who have said, one teacher from college who was very smart, super academic, but concluded like a year-long class, and it was a religion, history of religion, by saying that he would not underestimate the power of thought. He wasn't a particularly religious man. He was very academic. He just sort of ended by saying, guys, the power of thought, and you just can't stop it. It was sort of his theme. And he does certain things. And I've never been able to fully grapple.
I'm glad to hear that.
The other person in my life who had exactly the same comments was a martial arts teacher who taught me many different martial arts forms, Chinese martial arts. And his theme was that the speed of thought exceeds your ability to think about it effectively in this own way.
You know what I thought of when I was trying to sort of integrate this experience that I had, thinking about it, because what else can I do? Is that from Genesis, in the Bible, God, let there be light, and there was light. And there's no space between the two things. And that's what it felt like, except there was no word, but, the command of the mind. I just felt like I was in the presence of something I didn't know was in me. Yeah. I mean, I never heard, thank you for telling me this, if I never heard anybody say anything like that about something that's way beyond what you know, I guess.
Yeah, he particularly, so this other gentleman, he connected it to movement, very similar to your, right? He teaches movement, form of movement.
Is that Qigong?
Well,
Similar.
Yeah, I could give you a bunch of names.
Yeah.
But the idea is that when you move, you're moving faster than you can think when you move. And you sort of learn to deal with that and accept that. You can.
I don't know that I have anything more to say. Yes.
No, it's okay. This whole thing just reminded me of something called, I think it's called a reflex arc, where you put your hand on something hot and the hand gets withdrawn. This is from so long ago that maybe I'm not having this correct, but the reaction is without the involvement of the brain. It somehow shortcuts the brain and you just responding immediately. What you had obviously involved some kind of thought, but then the movement was almost simultaneous with it. So, I mean, that's essentially something different, but I have had these momentary experiences of going into the bathroom, looking in the mirror, and kind of being like, who's that? You know, like it's like that's the larger mind.
Yeah.
And you can't really put it into words. You know, I don't know, I don't know what it is, but I think it's just this window into reality of not being a separate self. It's non-self. You know, this small mind that is so struggling to comprehend such things and just accept it.
Eckhart Tolle in one of his books talks about his experience. I'm not saying it's similar, but he mentions seeing the division, that noticing a division in mind is a profound moment, and leads to all sorts of consequences. It doesn't mean there is a division, but when you notice it.
At that moment, there is, you're not, yeah. It's still happening inside. Yes.
Usually, Lompatian would ask.
I have to move so I can hear you. Whoa! I just knocked down something consequential.
Okay, I can be here. Please sit down. Usually, Lompatian would ask a practitioner, suppose that before you practice, you have a burden, let's say 100 kilograms.
Yeah.
And after you practice right now, what is the weight you are carrying now? It's just an analogy, the psychological burden that you are carrying now.
That I'm carrying now?
Right.
Well, just for wanting to know what it is. Like, yeah, I understand that. I think it's like, I'd like to be able to let it go, but I have questions, that's all, yeah. So it will go. It was only a couple of days ago.
Okay.
Thank you for that, though.
Okay, thank you.
I thought of one more example of no space between the thought and the action. A woman like me, 0 arm strength, and then a car falls on her child and she just picks up the car.
Yeah. It's just unusual. What a magnificent world this is, this experience. I could never have something like that before I came to this. This practice is really something else. And there's a lot of trust in it. But when you see parts of yourself you didn't know, it can be disquieting. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
That was nice.